All right, we got a spooky looking outfit for today for these episodes or whatever the fuck I'm supposed to be saying. Welcome, ghouls, demons, and fellow weird ones. And we're going to talk about my collections with Sylvana or Doombana. That's her Instagram. And the portraits or photos, whatever, that I collected from her. So Sylvana, she was one of my first like female photographers that I met. And I met her through the Death Museum in Mount Clemens. I was getting tattooed. Steve Pelkey is the tattoo artist at Splatterhouse Tattoo. He told me about Todd. I call him Ginger Todd. Because this is a different Todd than people who know T Todd. This is Ginger Todd. So Ginger Todd owns the Death Museum. And he had Sylvana, a beautiful Venezuelan woman who was working there with him. And she does photography and utilized all of his skulls and skeletons and spookiness from the Death Museum for her more occult and spooky art. She loves typo negative, relate. Her and I deeply bonded over that. And she just has this beautiful like way of embodying and empowering female sexuality. And so within like the darker realms, she loves a slutty nun. And I know there's a lot of people who feel some type of way about that, but that is one of her signature looks, and I love it. You can definitely see her Latina essence within this like dark occultism. Like it's a really fun blend, especially when you understand like her life experience and the culture and everything that had established, South America, Latin America, like all of that stuff through colonization and corruption and all of the world history. So meeting her in Detroit was a treat. I absolutely love Sylvana. She's Capricorn. And I can't say enough good things about her. Now, in anything I say that might be perceived negative, it's not about Sylvana. It's about the community. It's about other people, other politics. I had a really hard time finding, I guess, my community, my scene, my sense of people. I always feel like not just a side character, but like a cameo. I feel like I'm a cameo in people's lives. And I've really been wanting to find a sense of home and friendship. But there are a lot of differences between me and these groups of people in a variety of ways. They're just not my home group of friends, but they're definitely beautiful acquaintances and friendships. I would say it's like 11th house, not 7th house. I've been really learning what that represents. As a Capricorn stellium in the 7th house, there has been that yearning, that longing, which I've written about multiple times, but yearning for intimate friendships and community and like my tribe. And Sylvana seemed like her and everyone in that group could be part of my tribe. I could argue through certain mutual friends that I was kicked out of that tribe or maybe even never really booked to begin with. And Sylvana has welcomed me into that community multiple times. So I don't think it has anything to do with her. I've loved being a part of all of her creative projects that she's invited me to be a part of. It was a misalignment for a variety of reasons, but the work that we did get to accomplish together was absolutely beautiful. And so from meeting Todd and meeting Sylvana, I did our first shoot, which was the Galentines shoot. And it was this really romantic photo shoot that she did is that at one of the casinos in Detroit? Was it MGM? I don't remember. But I remember I had to leave, like, oh my God, I was just like constantly killing myself, which I always do. But I was working a lot. So, like, I worked, went home, got ready, went to the casino. I pushed myself to stay until between 11 and midnight because I had to go home to go to bed to get to work. Like, so I didn't get to stay for the whole photo shoot. And there were things that were part of the photo shoot that aren't on here. Like I did a milk bath with flowers. Like I was in what I still have the romper. Is this like red lacy romper? Here's the thing. I was underwater. I couldn't fucking hear nothing. I was disoriented, and I can't see me. I'm also in a bath, laying down, looking up. I couldn't hear anything. So no sense of direction. If I had any critique for Sylvana as a photographer, I personally just wish she would have given more direction. She's a great photographer, but she's more about capturing people, especially women who just kind of do their thing and then she captures it. I can do that. It's not that can't do that. It's not that I like a little sense of direction because I can't see myself. And so, do I need to tilt my chin up a little bit more? Like, there's only so much you can know about yourself. And that's also like I got a huge compliment at this photo shoot with this woman named Daisy. She was rolling. She's like Somali apparently. Didn't know that till later. But she was like anxious, and I was just like, yeah, just I was always taught when you want to pose, you just breathe in and you breathe out and then you let your face settle. And that was like one of the best like modeling tricks I've ever learned to get like a natural, like pouty, serious, kind of sexy look. Cause like I always feel I'm so animated. So I always feel like I have to smile and I don't feel like I can do like a serious face. I don't think I have like a especially because I'm a goofball. So I don't take it seriously. So when I was trying to learn to take serious photos and have like just like whatever, blue steel that they want you to have, that was how I learned. And that could even be from Zoolander. I don't fucking know. But so I told Daisy about that and that was like a big deal. She goes, oh my gosh, you really know how to read people and give them what they need emotionally. And I was like, hey, that's something I've been learning in witchcraft is like one of my powers, like fun. And so that was a confirmation for me during this Galentines. I want to say it was like February 11th. It was right before Valentine's. I don't think it was actually Valentine's, but don't know. But Doombana, cool Doom. She does a bunch of stuff. But Tori, oh my gosh, this picture of Tori. So Tori, what I really love about Tori, she was one of the first people who bought a candle from me when I started really doing my weird candles. And she told me that because it was a joy candle, and she gave me a huge compliment about my magic in the candle, and which is weird. So this is something I don't fully understand. Is she gave me this huge compliment about the candle and the magic and everything within it, that it gave her the strongest sense of joy that she's felt in a very long time after a depressive episode, and not to air out her stuff. I mean this with all the respect in my heart to tell the story, but I asked her if I could share what she said or if she could write me up something, and then I never heard from her ever again. I don't know if we still have each other in socials. I don't. It's weird when people just kind of fall out of my life, my timeline, I guess. Like I don't fucking understand what's happened to a lot of people that I like connect to. Cause I mean, if you ask me, the world is my family. I don't, my husband had to give me a serious talking to that not everyone's your friend just because you know them. And that's been a rude awakening for me. Um, but, like, that was, like, a really fun, like, connection and shoot, and this was one of my first, like, big group shoots, and, again, so women on a bed being sexy, but not giving I mean, this you can call this softcore porn or whatever, but there was a Victoria's Secret essence to this shoot. Sylvana edited it beautifully, and I really wish I would have known or seen what those the bath photos looked like. She said that they didn't turn out very good, and it's probably because, like I said, I couldn't hear anything, and I wasn't really being directed. I just kind of I felt very, like, awkward, and so it's probably weren't good photos, but she said they didn't turn out that well, so she didn't edit them or do anything with them. They're lost in the archives. But I love the, like, lick the skull, like, sexy thing. That was, like, super ridiculous and fun, especially because, like, I always, like especially people who know, I would do a thing like Metal Monday, but I always do the, like, face, the devil horns, and the tongue sticking out and whatever. I just thought it was fun and ridiculous, and it was kinda like my way of mocking certain, like, So it's like, oh, Band Crush Monday or whatever. I would do Metal Monday, and I would like just to be obnoxious. That was my form of rebellion, as corny as it sounds now. But that was like my form of rebellion in the culture of how I grew up. And so that was like really fun because it was with a real human skull. And most of my photos are with Tori. And then there's Daisy and May, who's she does burlesque now. She's fabulous. I don't really know much going on with her either. I think I still have her on social media. A lot of people social media in and out phases. I also will admit I go through deep paranoid phases where I unfollow people because I don't know. I don't know if it's like a spiritual psychosis or a paranoia phase, but like as I was coming into the awareness of like not so much all of these girls, but this community in Detroit, I started to really come into this understanding that I don't think I was as welcome as I thought I was, or I wasn't as involved as I thought I was. I don't know how other people would feel about my presence. But I had introduced a specific friend, which I could tell the whole story. I don't think I'm going to. There's a specific friend that I introduced to Sylvana. And then once she was introduced and once she started being more involved and I was focusing on my relationship and other aspects of my life, my candle business, there's a lot of shifts. But once she was introduced, that's when I started to really feel pushed out. Um, and so I don't know. So anyway, I've had moments of clarity or intuition or overthinking where I would get really nervous and then I would unfollow people or I would deactivate my account or restrict them or whatever. Not always fair to them. I think everyone kind of has these weird moments in this social media culture, but I've never like there's very few people that I've had like you're blocked. If I've had like harsh experience with you where like I'm cutting a cord with you, it's because you're blocked, not just unfollowed, blocked. And that's kind of how I've become a huge fan of the block button, even more so now. And it doesn't matter. I block people for ridiculous reasons at this point. I just can't care anymore. Like I got so tired of being like, oh, well, so and so told me. I'm like, how does so and so fucking know to tell you fucking anything? They don't follow me and I don't follow them. So I don't look at their page. I don't really look at people's pages. I'm not saying I've never done it, but I don't tend to do that. There has to be something that happened for me to actually go to your page. I'm not just going to your page because I randomly want to check up on you and get some information. Like it's like a very storyline experience occurred where somebody told me something and then it eats at me to the point where I look at your fucking Instagram. And then usually when I get fed up with that, and that's usually when I block people because it's like, why the fuck are you stay in your world and I'll stay in mine. Firm believer of that. But life is weird. In our personal relationships, goddamn, it's obnoxious actually. But I do love these shoot. I do love these photos. I love the shoot. I love the edit. I love, I could argue that that was like a real shift into this feminine, hyper feminine expression of myself that had been kind of buried. Like I've talked about, there's like this masculine essence of me where, I was deep in my masculine or whatever the fuck you want to say. I had a toxic masculine persona and I had a wounded feminine that ruled my insecurities. Like there's a lot of different ways I could word it in this like healing journey that I was on. But this Galentines, I feel like was a good opening because I was really opening myself up to have like female friends, especially after things that went down with Hannah, powerlifting gym Hannah. She, she really broke my heart. And then and then Lauren and that whole group, that situation. And I just pivoted. Like that's kind of been my life is I just pivot. And then after this shoot and COVID and then meeting my husband, I was kind of forced. I mean, there was a few other things that happened, there were a few years in between, but then I kind of got pushed into this like phase of isolation and dreaded fear of talking to another woman as a friend ever again. Sylvana, I still absolutely love her. I still connect with her, talk with her, would love to continue to work with her and all of the above. I can't sing her praises enough. That bitch works really fucking hard and she deserves all of the credit and flowers and everything that she's given. She's had me do free vending shows at some events that she puts on. She asked for my candles to be, I did a king and queen goth prom candle set for her, one of her goth proms at this church. And right before I got canceled on TikTok, people might remember that, for those who keep up with timelines. And then I did another event with her around Halloween of 23, so that's a whole new thing. Yeah, and then I moved, and I just have I've been out of that scene since then. I haven't been like I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on with anyone except what Sylvana posts because she's I think the last one standing that I continue. Well, there's a couple. There's Alyssa. I love Alyssa. Unproblematic people I've remained a connection to, but again, it's more of an 11th house connection of community, not the intimate relationship has been lacking in this sense of expression. And I'm leaning into all of that because like that's something that I really wanted from these experiences and from this creative work because I really wanted to collaborate with friends and build a community and have a lot of joy. But again, I always felt like this cameo alien outsider, and most likely, probably a lot of that was my own making. Like I'm not blaming anyone for this except myself, but I also don't know how they felt about it. But I do remember feeling quite awkward in this shoot. I remember Ginger Todd really Todd really wanting me to stay and like, forget about work and still deeply committed to my OT career. I wasn't, despite what some might say, I wasn't as irresponsible with that career as I wanted to be. It's only been in recent light. Um, to be honest. All right, so then it goes to my next shoot with Sylvana. My last shoot with Sylvana, one that I made for my husband. And this is one of my favorite shoots ever. This was everything about it was glorious. I would love to do more like this, if not to just continue to build off of this concept. I told her, I was like, my husband is a huge like black metal, death metal occultist. I want some like really cool aesthetic photos for that for Christmas because like I couldn't afford anything for him. I did pay Sylvana, but I could like anything that he wanted, I didn't have the money for. And so this seemed like something that I could like pay for and give him. And also because of where I was and he was and all the above, I wasn't sure if I was gonna even continue modeling with everything that had been going on. So it kind of seemed like a very Capricorn thing for me to gift and to do and to conclude in that potential business venture. There was a significant death energy, but you can also see a lot of seed planting energy. Like this shoot's really cool to reflect upon. I don't think I still have that. I don't have that piece. But one of these like I don't know, like lingerie pieces that I have, super fun, very awkward and uncomfortable to wear. Um but I love, like, I use the Death Museum, so there's some, like, deep Catholicism. This does remind me of certain, like, Norwegian, so again, black metal, aesthetics that I think is, like, really, really fun. We went to a really cold place, with a lake, and some dead trees at this park in Michigan, and I had a sword. That was super fun. I was so cold that it was hard, and again, there's I need sense of direction. Maybe not so much anymore, but at this time, this is again 2020. So back at this time, I definitely felt like I needed more direction as a model. And it's different because like when I'm doing my self-portraits, like I have mirrors, or I can see myself in the screen depending on how I have the camera on my phone or whatever I'm doing. And so I can see myself a little bit. And then also like how I get a lot of my photos is through a lot of video work. And so they're there's that ability to capture my authentic, candid moments, which is where I feel like I really shine, where I don't feel like I'm the best poser, but I also I need people to kind of guide me onto like, hey, exactly what vibe am I trying to fit? As otherwise, I'm consumed by how fucking cold I am being in this silver one piece, what the fuck ever bodysuit, freezing my ass off. Um, and that's what you can kind of see, like when I get to the Death Museum and some of those things, they kind of come to life. I have a better understanding of how I want to pose, being a little silly, like smiling with the skull. Uh, but yeah, so there's some fun expressions that came from this. But again, I felt a lack of direction and a lack of confidence in like how to express myself in this way with the camera. But it was so much fun. Regardless, it was a lot of fun. And I love the red edits. They're just gorgeous. The candlelight, the everything, the sensuality. She really, if you ask me, especially with the scenes, the candles and the pentagram, which this was before I made candles. I was still deep in candle magic. I had been doing candle magic. Done candle magic almost my whole life. Um, so everything in that, like you can see another photo shoot that's like a precursor to another chapter of the rest of my life. So we have the rainbow photo shoot, which really like set a tone for certain things. And then you have this, I call this one Immortal after one of my favorite black metal bands. That, and my husband would argue about, but anyway, that's why I named it that. Because my husband's like, oh, you like black metal? I was like, yeah, Immortal is one of my favorite black metal bands. And then he had to talk shit to me because that wasn't a good enough one, or wasn't underground enough, or whatever, or they only had a good first album, blah, 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 all the elitist talk, blah, 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 which led into this. Because I didn't share the shoot for a while. Again, it was a secret present for my husband. Sylvana didn't post it, or she posted a couple, but I asked her to be discreet on which one she shared. Chad was uncomfortable with certain things, and we were working through certain dynamics in our relationship on top of this community and career. And is again, he's not against me modeling. I want to clarify that. He's not against me modeling, he's not against me posing, he's not against me doing any of this. He just really wants to make sure that I am in a safe environment, but also that he is emotionally in a safe environment. We had to build trust in our dynamic on top of me building a healthy creative outlet. And I honestly didn't have, there wasn't a lot, it was kind of toxic. It wasn't very healthy. I understand why my husband had his concerns. And I probably took it too far because I always do in the way that I am. Very dramatic about how I heard his concerns. It triggered me as very reactive. But through those reactions, he was able to understand me. I was able to understand him. A lot of our deep rooted traumas rose to the surface, and we kind of came to deep understanding of one another. And now we create together harmoniously, and we have a really nice dynamic in our marriage and in how I express myself and how he expresses himself. And it just keeps flowing in a really nice way that I don't think would have gotten there if we didn't have those uncomfortable confrontational moments. I feel like I've dated men who were deeply insecure with what I was doing, and instead of talking to me about it, they ignored it and then left me or broke up with me or whatever, cheated on me, a variety of different scenarios for a girl who doesn't do that. And I was like, well, why were you okay with it? I told you I did this and you're okay with it until you realized you weren't okay with it. I don't know. Where Chad was upfront from the beginning about what he was okay with, what he wasn't okay with, his boundaries, blah, blah, blah. And we got to collaborate in a really genuine, vulnerable, authentic way that I think has been the stability that is our marriage, despite all of the chaos and storms that we've been through. We've been through a lot together as a couple, and but the alchemy that we have experienced, the mirroring, the shadow work, everything has been divinely orchestrated in a really cool way that continues to just get better and better and better. over time. Especially the more I reflect, the more gratitude I am met with, where wasn't so appreciative in the moment. I'm kind of a brat. So I think a lot of that can be expressed in my life story, but also you can see that brattiness in a lot of my portraits and photography and things like that. So, oh, and then the wheelchair. So they had an authentic insane asylum wheelchair, and I broke my ankle, and she's like, "We'll push you around in this. We'll take you everywhere." And so I posed with it, even though my ankle wasn't broken at this time. But that was such a funny moment with Sylvana. She's a really beautiful person. Anyone she's worth she's worth booking a trip to Detroit to have deer photos. If you're in the Michigan area, she's worth booking. Like the museums we're visiting, I know they're expanding. They're doing a lot of different things. I think they have something, is it Toledo? They might have something in Ohio that they're opening up. They have some really cool stuff that they're doing. So she's on I have her Instagrams on the portraits and the projects. But then she's also on my Instagram. And if anyone cares, you can message me. Oof. I will forward you a direct link to her. Because she is fabulous. Like I said, and she deserves the world. Not everyone in that community will be your friend though. Sylvana will be your friend. She's a good, solid person. I have no complaints about her, but if you're gonna like my caution is to anyone is to have your eyes peeled. Don't be as naive and I guess overly loving as me, but also do it because fuck it. We need more. I feel like we need more people like me in the world. But if you're trying to protect your own heart, I definitely have been disappointed by certain dynamics. And this was one of them that was really highlighted for me as I lived how it played out and got to where I am now. But like I said, I would go back to Detroit to work with Sylvana. I would maintain that connection until new information arises or I die. I like I said, I really think the world of her and what she's doing and what she's created, and she has really inspired me to create that for myself in my own life. Cause like she's opened a lot of doors for a lot of kink and goth and occult and weird alternative. Like Detroit is a pretty eclectic, open, artistic area. I was kind of surprised at what I experienced in Detroit because it's not what a lot of people talk about. But she really opened a lot of doors for a lot of women in Detroit, and as I don't know if she would claim refugee that I don't want to improperly speak, but she's from Venezuela and she came to the United States. She has her husband. She didn't get married to escape Venezuela. Don't misinterpret me, people on the internet. But she had eventually moved to Detroit from Venezuela, and knowing the little details that I know about her life and where she's overcome, she's definitely an inspiring woman who deserves absolutely everything. So, book with her, create with her, collaborate with her, go to her parties, experience her, um, her cult doom world. I think she has like a goth club that she's like opened up. There's a lot of really good women. Okay, so I did talk about my projections, my traumas, my fears, and my more so negative experience, but there are a lot of beautiful women that you will meet. So I don't want to taint the message in being too negative. I tend to get lost sometimes in some of my experiences on the more negative emotional plane, but there are vibrant, beautiful women who I just simply, for one reason or another, didn't bond in a deep way. But again, on 11th house community level, Miss Cooper, I would give her so much credit in the world. I don't know her real name. I believe she's a dominatrix. I absolutely love her. She has a beautiful energy and aura around her. I met a woman, her name's Ariel. I think I've talked about Ariel Hayes before. in some of my poetry stuff. She is a fellow Aquarius and she wrote some beautiful poetry. And I really loved her. I don't know what happened to her or where she's been in life. I think that's where there's a lot of confusion in some of these dynamics is I have the ones who just faded away for reasons that I don't know. And then there's the specific details of information from this harsh area of the community that I was very intentionally shoved out of. So I want to be balanced in how I'm expressing this. And ultimately, people are going to find out for themselves on who they connect with and who they don't connect with, and regardless of my experience or not. So I want people to be open to the beautiful experience that they can have in this community in Detroit that maybe not many people know. But if you're seeking um eccentric community, this would be a great place to start. There's, like I said, there's a lot of wonderful artists and people in the community, but there are also predators there. So to tie in CJ, so people who know that I worked at CJ Mama Bears, I didn't really work there. I had my candles in there and I abruptly pulled my candles out because she welcomed in these alley cat junkies, I believe. What the fuck? The fuck starts with, it's not Lars. What the fuck? Lyle, crocodile. Predator. And he's a huge predator who I met through Todd at the Deaf Museum. And then he's somehow connected to CJ. It's a whole small community thing. They had like a metaphysical-ish shop, a junk antique shop, and predators. Lyle and Alex, I believe is his wife's name, not safe people. So that's kind of what I'm trying to allude to. Like, definitely be aware. And Sylvana and Todd, like, they are aware, or my understanding, not to misspeak, but my understanding is they are aware of these people and they have like tried to exile and like, protect people as best you can only protect so many people. So in these kinky spaces and in this shadow aspect of this world, just be cautious. That is my advice to women. But if you want like a safe space, like I've talked about some real cringy photographers. Sylvana is the ultimate safe, secure, expressive. Like I love her as a photographer. I highly recommend women go get glamorized by her because it's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about my photo shoots with Sylvana and or Doomvana and my story with the Deaf Museum. And I like I said, there are so many shoots that I didn't get to participate in with Sylvana that I wish that I got to. And there are so many more in the future that might still occur. So, like I said, she's someone I would collaborate with again over and over and over. She is very talented and has just the right aesthetic for everything that I absolutely love. So, with that, here's to Savannah, here's to Cult of Doom, here's to the Anatomy of Death Museum, and here's to a wild experience of the alternative community in Detroit.